There's, I reckon if we, it doesn't matter what we are going to ask, there's almost always 50-50 or 48-52, or, you know what I mean? Pretty even.
Yeah. It's just like with my content, people are like, well, don't do drama videos, don't do nutrition, don't do training. Like there's so many different things. I'm like, I'm going to do all of it. That way I can post 2 videos a day. And I don't expect, people are like, why are you doing drama stuff? I'm like, well, because I'll do a few videos of drama for you. That's what you like. I'll do a few videos about training for them. I'll do diet for you. I'll talk about this and that. I'll talk about Will Smith getting slapped in the face and whatnot. Any topic, because there's something for everyone. Like for me, if somebody watches like 2 of my videos a week, that's a lot. Most people only post 2 videos a week. So if you're watching 2 out of my 15 videos I post a week, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And then it's actually true nowadays. I found it really is about consistency and putting just a lot out. If your shit is somehow good, then just keep throwing it out. Even the more, the better. 2 or 3 a day, doesn't matter. Just keep throwing them out. And eventually something blows up viral, boom, gets the stone rolling. And then like your biggest growth phase was maybe when you did all these reactions about Nelly or not and all that stuff, right? And then you had a huge blow up, and then you just jumped on that wave and you just sticked on it, and then you just.
Absolutely. I would see one video do well, and I'm like, I'll do more of those, like the Natty or Nots. Like I was like trying to do like mostly just nutrition and coaching. Then I did a couple of videos on like Anavar, and I look back a year later, I'm like 500,000 views. I'm like, holy shit. I may as well do more videos about that. That's what people want. So I just keep talking about that, and then, mix it up. And I think people that followed me a couple of years ago, they don't like my channel as much now, because all I used to do is talk about steroids, like really steroids and SARMs.
I know. Yeah. Cardarine and all that stuff. Right? I remember
Absolutely.
back in the days I was watching all your SARMs videos, and like, this was one of the few channels of yours who talked about these.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I've only been on HRT for like 3 years. So it's like, well, am I supposed to go on drugs? Am I supposed to take Tren and say, hey, I'm on Tren just so that you get the channel views that you want? I'm like, no, so I have to change my content because it's not something I'm into right now.
I totally hear what you say. Also, let's say your interests change a bit, and you're just not maybe that crazy hardcore bodybuilder anymore who is about deadlifting as much as you possibly can, right? And then why should you take all these drugs? And then long term, you're like, shit, maybe I should not talk about drugs too much, because it's technically not good, that people would just stupidly use it. And the more you talk about it, the more they will use it. And it's hard, yeah. But I enjoy your journey, man. Yeah,
isn't it interesting? The more videos I talk, it allows you to think about things a lot. So I'm making all these videos about test and trend and all the cycles I'm on, the records I'm trying to break in powerlifting and bodybuilding. And now I'm like, wait a minute, everyone seems to be dying in bodybuilding. I'm scared myself. And I'm like, I'm just doing HRT. I'm not doing any more cycles anymore. And so your content has to change. How could I still post, hey, here's me bench pressing 500 pounds when I can't lift that much. I don't look that way, so I'm trying to be healthy and keep things safe. And so obviously my videos have to change, and they have, but at least there's some people that stuck around.
That's why you stick with different topics and stuff. So you please all these kind of, what is it called, favorites that people have, right? So these guys about like nutrition, these guys for rage, these guys for drugs. And so there are more videos than you upload. Maybe you just have to be okay with your ego that most or some of the videos get less views and all that stuff. And that is just a big mind fuck nonstop that I find with all the social media, that you think like, oh yeah, then I change and I do this, they will like that better. But then they don't like it. And then you're just like, fuck, but you put the effort in and all that. So my social media is a big mind fuck also.
Oh yeah, it's bad because you get used to getting like 100,000 views every video. Then if you don't get it, you think you're doing bad, and they'll compare my channel to someone else. Say your channel sucks. You only get 100,000 views. They get 500,000. I'm like, yeah. Is it really just about that? Plus, I'm posting so many videos that like if I post one in the morning and one in the afternoon and one at night, you're not gonna watch all 3. So they're gonna divide out the views. So it doesn't really matter. But I mean, honestly, I could have 10% of the views I'm getting now, and it would still be mind blowing. Like for me, I just think it's crazy.
And the more videos you do, then the more videos, let's say 10 videos a week make 100,000 views. Let's say that's 1 million views, right? And then the other guy uploads 2 videos that have 300K views, which would be 600. So you technically have more, but each video looks worse so yeah, there's a lot of different approaches. But in my opinion, just throw out stuff that's good, and then the algorithm will do its work.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you post a lot on Instagram and you got 7 million followers there, which is like ridiculous. And YouTube 500,000, which is still crazy, but you hardly do YouTube in comparison. If you did all YouTube, you'd probably have 7 million there but have less on Instagram. So I find that really interesting.
This is something maybe there's some still possibility that I could work with you or whatever the fuck, but I'm looking for new management because there's so much stuff that I can't just figure out myself. I'm busy with feeding these platforms right now, but there's so much that I would like to do, which I'm like, yeah, fuck, I need to build a team. I need to do this. I need to do this, and then video ideas. There's so much to do here in Thailand, bro. Millions of ideas, but then struggling, people not recording properly, editing is not sorted out, and no one's helping you to progress ideas. Let's say I'm throwing out, like, let's go to the market. And then I need to be the actor, the director, the regisseur, the everything, in order to get one video, right? So I would really need help. And I was still thinking long-term to scale that shit up, like Nelk Boys. You know Nelk Boys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro, these guys, they perfected that. In terms of like just vlogging, daily vlogs, like reality TV, kind of like just doing fancy shit. And here, bro, like I say, in Thailand, man, unlimited possibilities of doing funny things, man, and just entertaining. But I would just need help. But I know that I'm a good character for all this stuff.
Okay, I wanted to go back kind of because I know all about you now, but I don't really know much about your childhood and how you got started. So take me back to your kid in junior high, perhaps. And are you muscular? Are you athletic? Do you play a lot of sports? When did you start lifting weights? And when did you realize like you had an amazing physique that could go somewhere?
Okay, so let's say I'm a sportsman since day one, bro. Like I'm the ultimate athlete. Like I swear, man. Like when I was 3 years old, I would inline skate in a half pipe, wakeboarding, inline skating, water skiing, then snowboarding, boxing, sprinting, like whatever sport you can think about, cycling, I would do it. Skateboard, everything. And I would be ultimately just interested in doing sports. And then I was once finding myself with doing bicycle riding, not the way like you do, like for an endurance and stuff. I would do the stunt tricks, dirt bike stuff like these guys with the motocross do, where you do backflips and shit. And I would just get really good in that sport, right? So when I was like 14, I was joining like with this stuff. And then I would just do this until I was 17-ish, 18. And before that, every sport you can think about. Then handball, basketball, football, I would do everything, soccer. And so I got stuck with the sport of bicycle riding, right, where I do the stunts. And I would get professional in there after a few years. That was my main drive. I was thinking like my life is going to be like a bicycle rider, bro, and I'm going to do my stunts I'm going to be super famous. I'm going to go to these big competitions, bro, and I'm going to be the man. And then eventually I would go to some competitions and do quite well, but ultimately injure myself while practicing new tricks. And then I was hurting my knee, and that then got me into starting rehab, which means my physio said I need to go to the gym a bit, like do some exercises for legs just to get your knee going again. And then, I was joining the gym, and then I was liking that a lot, bro. And I was always, let's say, quite disciplined and a bit of a tough guy. So I was always thinking like, let's put a lot of work in, like just let's dig in. So I was taking it very serious. Like, let's say if I do something, I do it quite serious in terms of at least sports. Maybe I suck at school stuff or whatever, or studying, but in terms of sports, bro, I'm the ultimate guy. So I put a lot of effort into this fitness journey, and from day one, and then 3 months later, I did already a good transformation, man, and I saw good results and stuff. So I was getting back to doing my bicycle sport, right? But eventually just digging into more fitness, and then doing less bicycle riding, going more to the gym, and then even less bicycle riding. And then maybe I ditched that completely at one point because I don't want to injure myself again, because I enjoy going to the gym a lot, because I also realized like, wow, I could build a great physique. And for me, it was always like that, bro. I say a proper man, bro, like a good, real man, let's say a real man needs to have some chest. Like let's say when you're a kid, right, and you are young, and then you just imagine like, how does a real man look like some warrior, bro, like a hunter. That at least they have some shoulders, some arms, and chest, bro. So I was like, at one point I need to get to be a real man. So I maybe have to exercise a bit in order to get these gains going. And that's what I was doing. And after I injured myself, and 3 months later, good transformation, realized I liked it almost more than my sport. Then eventually would just do less bicycle riding and then full-time fitness. Like 2 years later, just bulking, man. I started like 76 kgs, but I was skinny fat, bro. I was not big. I was not just skinny. I was literally a skinny fat guy, bro. I would not eat properly. I would eat like chocolate bars, 5 a day. That's it. And drink like Coca-Cola stuff. That's it, man. Not really thinking about anything in terms of nutrition. But always, obviously, as I did a lot of sports, I was burning a lot of calories.
Right. I mean, it sounds a lot like me. I loved sports growing up from being a little kid. And I grew up, I eventually became a phys ed teacher. So I just taught gym class all the time. So it was my dream job. I was like, I always loved being in the gym. I always loved playing sports. So it sounds like you're a lot like me. And I want to get back to this bike riding thing. So you were one of those guys that could do like a backflip on the ramp and land on the wheels and not crash. Like you could do that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy,
That's wild. That's wild.
Now I can talk better about myself than many years ago, because back in the days, I would always not want to talk good about myself, like how good I really was. But I was doing this like 7, now maybe 10 years ago. And I was so pro, bro, like the best in the world. Like I did all the stunts that the best in the fucking world do. And even until now, bro, people, they can't do much more, because what you're going to do more with this bicycle, bro, you are just limited. There's double backflips. Yeah, I did double backflips in the foam pit. I never did a double backflip on land, but I did normal backflips, backflip no hand, backflip tail whips, flares, like, bro, you name it, man. 720s, man, I did it, bro.
That's wild. Like I was a cheerleader in university, power cheerleading. So I learned how to do backflips and all that kind of stuff just from doing that. But like, how do you learn the tricks? Do you do gymnastics? Like, could you do a standing back tuck, like all the stuff and the handstand? Like, can you do all that stuff on land? Like just without the bike, or just like with the bike?
No, with the bike, literally, bro. I would now want to practice backflips, but in terms of being like, what is it, athletic or like doing these things, I would not be able to. But let's say with this bike stuff, you build proper jumps where you can practice. It's not like you just take a big fucking jump, like 5 meters in between, and then you just go for it. No, you build small jumps, like it's called step ups, where you get off here and you land more up there, right? So you just jump up there, you practice your trick, and when you land, you are just not falling that much down. So I would practice all kinds of tricks, like no hand, no foot, 360s. And I was the ultimate, this was teaching me, I always have to remind myself about this, that I'm so hardcore about. Don't give up. Just try again. Like you fail, you just try again. You fail, you try again. You fail, you try again, until you eventually just make it, bro. Like this is literally the story of me with my bicycle sport. You practice a trick for 1,000 times and it's not working. And the 1,001 time you get it, man. And then you practice again and you keep going. And then eventually, blind, man. You do these tricks blind.
I always found that people like yourself that were athletes growing up, when they transitioned into weightlifting or bodybuilding, they were always the best ones, because they had the mentality of trying hard and working for it and having a goal, versus people that didn't play sports growing up and they just said, oh, I want to look good. They go to the gym, but they don't train hard and they don't work hard for it. They don't realize how much you have to put into it. And obviously, looking the way you are, the discipline it takes to have that lean of a physique, it's not easy. And because you practice so much with all your sports, bike riding and all those sports, it just kind of led you to being able to do this at this point. Like, would you say that's true?
I would say that's true. Yeah. Let's say if I also think back about me with my other friends who also did the bicycle sport, for example, I would do a 360 and I would fall down badly and scratch my elbows and stuff and bleed and shit. And then the next day I would just go again. But my friends, bro, they would crash 1-2 times. They fucked themselves up. They're like, fuck that shit, bro. Like, what is this? Like next, I bet I do something else. But I'm like, no, man, like you want to succeed, bro. You got to push. Just keep going. Just go again. So I went to the gym like with the same mentality, right? You always, like, you are a good example or a good role model when it comes to a bit harder than last time, right? Because that's always, just tell yourself, just do more if you can. And yeah, I totally agree with what you said, that I would come from a different sport, which gave me the drive maybe to be more disciplined, to just understand that you want something. Because like, in order that you achieve something you wanted, then you have to do something for it. And I see it too many times with other people in the gym, where they see a great physique online, then they want to have that as well. And then they get the work going, and then they underestimated that work in the first place. And then they get overwhelmed by like, whoa, it takes a lot of time, more than I thought. It takes more work than I thought, and much more discipline than I even have. then they fail along the way, and then they just give up, which is sad because people just sometimes doing things in a stupid way. When you set different goals and doing things a bit in a different way, eventually you succeed better.
Now, with that early on success, were you, quote, famous from this, or did that happen later on? Like, I first personally saw you doing the in the vein alien gains. It was like the chest was rippling and going. That's the first memory I have of seeing your physique. That's when I discovered you. But were you famous before that, or what led to your, extreme popularity?
Let's say with the bicycle sport, I was doing well. People around the world, they would know me, but I wouldn't been at international events yet. And back in the days, there was not really YouTube that much. I was doing some, but not that much. And there was another platform which was called Sponsory. I was been the biggest guy there in this platform. Let's say in the scene of this bicycle sport, I would be quite well known, but ultimately not famous. I mean, in terms of numbers, it's nothing compared to now. And then, yeah, you are right. So you discovered me maybe when I did the alien gains. So when you want to talk about that story, where I came from and all that, it's like, eventually I would go to the gym, right? Move to another city, meet that guy. And he's like, hey, you have Instagram? I'm like, no, I just have Facebook now. Like back in the days, I was in Facebook. And then I just said Facebook. He's like, no, you got to get on Instagram, bro. This is the next big thing, man. I guarantee. So I sign up and he's like, yeah, put some hashtags, man. There's these tags for likes, bro, that you need to put. And then you upload pictures and you get a lot of likes. And I'm like, whoa, crazy, man. Okay, show me these hashtags, bro. So I got on these hashtags and he's like, yeah, see, here you can document your journey. And then it was like, oh, that's cool. Because back in the days, I was on that, then eventually starting to prep for a bodybuilding competition. And then we said, yeah, okay, let's use this platform to keep track of our progress and road to stage, I was calling it and stuff. So I would upload pictures on a regular basis, just showing how we would make progress, how we get in shape, or like, let's say, how we gain muscle at first and all that stuff. So, and then from there, with these tags for likes, blah, blah, hashtags, and then commenting. And another guy said, yeah, if you have to comment a lot on other pictures and comment a lot on other guys. And so I all day commenting around, doing hashtags, uploading pictures, maybe growing my account to like 30,000 followers. Was quite okay then. And then eventually went up to like 80,000 by keep doing this for like 2 years. But for like 2 years I would do this. Then obviously the journey from the road to stage thing was over. I was then still staying in shape because I swear the shredded lifestyle, it was always my thing, shredded lifestyle. I was always super ripped. So I saw all these big guys on Instagram and stuff, and I saw what they are posting. And that was mind blowing. And it was like, but I almost look like that, bro. So I was like, if I just keep looking the way that these guys having great success with, and they keep posting pictures the way they do, and maybe I can become one of them, bro. So I was always trying to stay good lean and make these hardcore pictures and like just always about, what I'm doing, right? So similar stuff. Back in the day, same shit. And then 90,000 followers, I would also go off cycle, right? Because I was cycling back then, right? So I went off cycle for a year because I was moving from another city. And I was like, fuck, I think I'm over all this bullshit with taking something and being so hardcore about fitness. So let's just ditch this a bit and stay off cycle and just become normal again and keep training. Because another of my friends, he stopped using and then he would just never use again. Until now, he is the only person I know, by the way, who started with something like testosterone and then would just use it for 1 or twice and then just leave it forever. Because there's a great chance that you get really addicted to that shit, or your mind gets, and then you just stick to it for the rest of your life. But that's another topic. So yeah, then 90,000 followers. And then I would stop, go off cycle, just get busy with girls, partying and stuff, and just doing nothing in terms of social media. Then getting back to fitness and checking my hormones and all that stuff right back in the days. And then I realized that, yeah, it's 1 year off. This is still not coming back too much. I was at like 250 or something. The test levels were at like 2.5. I think in Canada you would name like 2.5. And they said, yeah, it's still quite low, man. And I was like, yeah, but what can I do? I really like training, but somehow in my mood, everything was not good still. And I was somehow a bit depressed. Like I said, I was also partying a lot then. That was not good, bro. Like, so I went to all that party shit, right? And then girl stuff, and then like going home and then just what should I do with my life somehow? Lost my job. Like a lot of things happened in my life, actually kicked out of my apartment. And then I had to restructure myself and like rebuild myself. And I found like fitness is a great base. It helped me a lot always. So let's get back to it. Let's try to figure out what is the root of me being so miserable. So went to the doctor, checked all this stuff out, then eventually go on TRT, right? And then starting to train better again, and then just going to Linz for a photo shoot. And there the alien game thing kind of happened. And then we took video of that. I upload this one and it just blows up like crazy. I uploaded it on Facebook as well. And it also went super viral on Facebook. And then Lad Bible and Sports Bible and all super big pages on Facebook posted it. And Instagram, it went super viral. So I blew up like 100,000 followers in, I'm not sure if it was like 1 day or 2 days, but that's, let's say overnight.
Wow. Yeah.
100K plus.
Okay, so basically, you said a lot there. So you tried to become a bodybuilder. So you were actively competing, and I first wanted to know, like, and obviously you're doing cycles, and you were bigger back then. How did you do? Were you winning? Because I look at your physique now, and I'm like, you look like a pro. And so I'm thinking, why isn't he competing to be a pro? There's a lot of questions I want to ask, but like, let's start with like, how did you do as a bodybuilder back then?
Okay, so there was this thing. Let's say I was looking really good, bro. Like, until I was like 2 weeks out, I was looking super good. I was this guy in our prep where our coach, I don't want to talk numbers, bro, but this guy would just give us ridiculous amounts of stuff.
Sure.
And I would just use that, right? I would just use that, don't think too much. And I would gain like 1 kg of muscle a month. And then when we were dieting, I would just stay the same weight. Like I started diet with 110, it went down to 105. And then I was just staying there until I get like more peeled, like literally like stage ready. Then like 2 weeks out, I was having some problems with work and my girlfriend back in the days. And then I was just mentally somehow depressed. This coach kind of fucked off and he got busy with some other stuff that he had to do. So he's like, sorry guys, I cannot help you anymore. Because it was me and a bunch of friends back then. It was like, this was my gang, right? This is, we started all that stuff together and we went through this together and then finished this also together. But then the guy just was missing. So we had no one telling us what to do and what not. And then I was, let's say, peak week, and I just wouldn't be doing no carb and wouldn't doing a proper peak week. And then wouldn't carb up properly and like all that stuff that can go wrong ultimately before the show. Then there was a Frey Classic was the show, by the way. It's in Germany, Frey Classic. And went there, I looked like shit, man, like completely bad. I almost didn't want to compete. I looked so much better like 3, 4, 5 weeks out even. And that annoyed me so much that after this competition, I would just also stay in shape, trying to get even better shape, right? And then, anyways, coming off. But for these competitions that I did, I look better now. I looked much better like the last 2-3 years after all that competing stuff than I did for my competition. Because I realized after the second competition that I just somehow don't like the process of that last week or these last 2 weeks of getting there. Like I rather eat kind of low. I rather look, let's say, halfway shredded than being these crazy shredded, because from getting from this stage of being me, right, and being kind of lean, but from getting from there to really, really peel that you need to be in order to win like a bodybuilding show, like super crazy shredded glutes, you have to suffer a lot. And I realized by doing this no carb and suffering, it makes me suffer so much that I just don't enjoy fitness anymore. Like somehow I just don't enjoy bodybuilding anymore too much. After the competition was done, it's like, I don't want to go to the gym. This is not cool. So I realized I'd rather stay in a decent shape all the time. That satisfies me much more than being like fat and getting prepared, than being like off season and getting prepared again. That's just me personally. Yeah. But no, in terms of my physique, I'm looking much better now. Maybe let's say I looked much better 1 year ago when I was quite peeled, because now I tore my biceps and this small elbow, this stuff, you know what I mean? The older you get, it's like the first time, I'm now 29 years old, man. This is the first time in my life where I'm thinking like, it's like a shock, bro. We're like, wait, I'm not invincible, bro. Like shit, man. Like I cannot do these things like I did. Like, like I would like to ride my bicycle again, right? And do some just stunts here a bit on the streets. And I'm like, hey, will this maybe just tear my biceps tendon again? And it's just like limiting myself now in terms of what exercises I do and what not I do, just because you're getting older and all of a sudden things are just not the same.
Right. It's tough. I mean, I've gone through it all. I was doing all these competitions my whole life, but I only took steroids and whatnot like later in my life. And so I only turned pro at 35. So, I mean, to me, you're so young. I turned pro at 35. I'm 46. And I only recently got back into like, well, I used to do triathlons as a kid. So now I'm into the bike riding, but I did triathlons for 13 years, you know, trying to build muscle, doing all that cardio. And so I was able to kind of build muscle for a long, long time as a natural. Then when I took steroids, obviously got a lot bigger. Now for you, you competed, you could have been, I mean, I think you could have been an IFBB pro, especially now with classic physique. You look amazing, but you just don't like the last couple of weeks. And I think that people don't understand how shitty you feel when you look your best. Like you look, for most people, you have the dream physique right now, but you know that you're maybe at 80% and you could get that much better. But to go from where you are now to that pro level shreds, the diet, the suffering, the cardio, it's just not worth it for you. So although you could get the card, I think it's not worth it. And really, you don't need it. You're clearly have so many followers, and honestly, other than Chris Bumstead, I can't think of one person that's a physique guy that's as popular as you are in the world. And he's the Mr. Olympia. So out of all the guys, really, why would you need to compete? You don't need to go to the Mr. Olympia. You don't need to do that because you're so successful without it. And so
I want to go there
the right way.
The only reason why I would like to go there and just do this, to shut everyone up that just nonstop talking shit that I'm not that good and stuff. And I'm just like, bruh, I'm laughing at these guys because I'm suffering so badly, man. I'm using the minimum amount of drugs you can imagine. And I'm looking that good. It's just like, how are you doing it? It's like, yeah, bro, I suffer so much. I do so much cardio. I'm so strict with my food. You guys have no idea. And then you try to take away my credit by just saying that I'm using more and all this stuff. And I'm just like, but on the other side is then the next thing. Not only don't I dislike the last week or the last 2 weeks of getting stage ready. It's also all these extra, let's say, drugs which I should be using if I really want to be like super number one or whatever, right? So I'm telling you, like, I swear to God, if I would jump on trend never ever again and like I would do a blast, I would let everyone know because it will be. You will see it. You will see it. I'm always. Even now, I'm again in this moment where I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would just look a tiny bit better, man. Should I just use something more? And then I'm like, for what, man? Just don't. Like, just don't. You don't want to use all these things. Like, people want to do what they want to do. Okay, fine. Don't judge. But just because I'm not going their path, just also then don't judge me because I let you guys do and live and compete. But just in terms of them, they start to hate on me because many, let's say, people having big egos these days, you know. So imagine you are a very well-known IFBB pro, bro. So you have been winning all these competitions, and then I show up like, who is this motherfucker? By the way, it's like some random ass, like makes funny videos, like doesn't take himself serious, just talks in a weird accent, shit. Like, hey, who is he? Why is he so popular? He doesn't deserve the fame, man. I win these competitions. Look at me, bro. I'm well educated. I should have 7 million followers, not him. But I'm like, yeah, bro, but wait. These guys, they keep forgetting nowadays, everyone looks good. There's so many people, they look insanely good. You need to be a bit more different than just, yeah, you are handsome, nice body. Cool, bro, that's very good. That's where you can win competitions with. That's the thing. But in order to win the heart of people, right, and being maybe successful in social media and being maybe a cool guy, I don't know. A good body is just not enough these days. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people are jealous or envious because of somebody's success. They see somebody doing really good and they don't realize that it takes a lot of, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of hard work and great genetics, and it doesn't necessarily take all the drugs. And people are thinking it's easy for them. All they do is sit in front of a camera and chat, talk, and they have all these followers. And so they get mad at that rather than working harder, because they don't see the work that goes behind the scenes. Rather than them working harder, it's easier for them to write a comment and say, you suck, you're not so good, blah, blah, blah. It's all steroids, it's all trend. I get it all the time. And even if you're honest, people are not going to believe you. Like I tell everyone, I'm on 140 milligrams of test a week. I do 100 milligrams every 5 days. That's what I'm doing. I'm guest posing in a week and a half, guest posing. And I would want to look better. I mean, I broke my elbows. My muscles aren't as big as they could be. I would love to do a cycle. I would like to look bigger. I would want to do this, but for health reasons, I'm not. And so I'm sure, as you just said, you want to look a bit bigger. You could take the trend and look that much better, but the health consequences is not really worth it.
It is 100% like that. But nowadays that people are just unaware of these things. They just want the quick thing real quick. They want it quick. No one can wait nowadays. While we are now basically in the sport that teaches you the best, that you need to learn how to wait. You need to learn how to wait. This is like success in the gym can't be measured like in other sports. Maybe in another sport you do something and all of a sudden you throw 3 meters further and that's measurable success. And then you go to the gym today and then you go to gym tomorrow, but you still look the same. And then in a week you still eventually look the same. But it's these things that you keep doing that then add up after a month or two. And then you look back and you realize, wow, there was great progress. But I had to wait for it. And I had to stay disciplined and I had to nonstop keep doing the work. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the results. And that's what people are just lacking in doing. The real deal story is that nowadays people are just pussies, bro. Like too much of a pussy out there, man. It's like, you are a real tough man, then just go and show and prove it to you. Not to me, man. Don't prove me anything. Prove it to yourself how hardcore you really are, man.
Exactly. And people think that it's the magic pill. Like if anyone's natural and they're watching this, they're thinking, well, Greg, you only look like that because of HRT. They don't think of the bike racing. They don't think of the diet. They don't think the suffering that goes on. They look at your physique. Oh, it's just steroids. He doesn't have to do anything. He just takes that. If I took that, I would look like that too. They have no idea how strict you would have to eat, how you'd have to go through the hunger, how you have to do the training, the dieting, and the discipline that it takes. And so the sad reality is until they take those drugs themselves, they won't know that it's not magic. Obviously, it helps you build a lot of muscle, but you're not going to have a 6-pack and walk around, single digit body fat unless you put in the work.
100%. And that's the only thing which I want to kind of do, also inspire and motivate people to do, to just see like, hey guys, look, I'm doing it with a very little amount of anything and stuff. And it's still possible because I keep putting in the work. I keep doing the exercise. I keep doing the cardio. I keep educating myself. I'm trying to get better, to level myself up in different things in my life. And ultimately, maybe this also helps me to create a greater physique. And the drugs is just some extra thing. But then also imagine one story. Let's say there's a guy in India, bro, and he lives outside in the village, man, and he doesn't even have a phone really. And he's just having some pictures printed out of Ronnie Coleman and all these big guys. And he's training and he doesn't even know what steroids are. And he just have his basic nutrition. And this guy is huge because all he did, he's looked at these pictures like, I want to look like this. So he tried as hard as possible. And it's not a single % influence from any social media, from any outside voices. So he just looks at this and thinks like, wow, this is possible. This is where I'm going to go. And then he keeps digging in and he keeps doing, and he creates such a crazy physique where people look at him and it's like, what the fuck? How could he get so big and shredded? He must be using steroids. And then the guy's like, hey, I don't even know what steroids are, right? It's like, yeah. But wait, you guys are just so limited already in your mind in what is technically possible, right? So that's why you never ever achieve a great physique, because you look at someone and say, yeah, this is cool. I would like to look like this. Then someone say, yeah, but you can't. You can't. Just don't even try. And it's like, yeah, but I would really love to look like this. So how about you just try as hard as you can? And then after like 5 years, man, imagine we don't try for like a month or 2 or 3. How about you try for 5 years as hard as possible? How good you can become in this sport. And after that, you make a resume and realize like, hey, maybe without letting other people influence my opinion on what's possible and what's not, I would have achieved much greater results, because like I said, people, they see other people online, they say, this is what I want to achieve. Then other people go ahead and they just destroy their motivation because they keep telling them it's not possible. You need to take a lot of roids to look like this. And then they say, yeah, what I even bother trying when these guys are anyways right?
Absolutely. And I really wanted to ask you this, Joe. Really, how much pressure do you feel from social media to kind of have to look the way you do? Like how much pressure, like social media influences everyone. Like Do you feel like you need to be this lean? Like, because you obviously are putting in the work and you suffer a fair bit with whether you're drinking a lot of coffee or ways to stay really lean. How much pressure do you feel to look how you look right now? And what would happen if you just kind of like let yourself go? Could you do that? Like mentally, talk to me about the mental aspect, like emotionally, mentally, how do you deal with all that?
Let's say I could myself, but let's say I personally, I don't like my big cheeks. Even right now, I'm eating a bit more. And it's not only about that, it's me then trying to just chill a bit, bro. Then let's say I upload a picture where I'm a bit out of shape. And then people, they are attacking you. Oh my God, you're out of shape. You stop using trend. Oh my God, what happened to him? Like, oh my God, look at him. Oh my God, what happened to him? Like, just chill, man. I'm just human. Maybe I just want to take a vacation for like 2 weeks where I don't work out, where I don't exercise and I don't do cardio. And then you just can't look like this. People, they don't understand. You can only look like this, like the way I do, if you nonstop do all that crazy work and cardio and everything on point. That's the only way. If you stop doing this, you will look worse. Which I then let's say I do this, I look a bit worse right now, and then people immediately start to attack you. Oh my God, see? And then, and that is the most biggest brain fuck. People also, they're just thinking when they text me a message or even you, that that we influence them. Like what I say is influencing millions of people. But did millions of people also think about what they're texting us? When I read that shit, that I maybe also get hurt, and like maybe I take a hit in my brain or like my ego and all that stuff. If I'm reading these angry messages from people that don't know you for a single percent, and they just throw out their anger because they also had a bad day, their job fucked them, their wife is unhappy with them, they have another money issues and stuff, and then they come home and then you are just the perfect guy to come at them for like, let me tell you how good you really are, motherfucker. You just look like shit. You take a lot of steroids and now you're fat, so you are a loser. Now I feel much better already. So, wait, ultimately I have to answer the question. Yeah, kind of pressured, man. It's definitely some pressure is there that I, let's say, maintain some decent physique, which leads me to push more YouTube, which I'm trying to do right now, not maybe the English version, but the German version, just to show people even more behind the scenes of me, JOESTHETICS, because Instagram is just a lot about pictures. Yeah, I'm a funny cunt. Yeah, I'm interesting maybe to watch, my accent and all that stuff, but you couldn't catch that vibe properly when you are just watching my Instagram stuff. And to connect, I realized at one point that it's not about the way you look. People, they like you the way you look, but ultimately there's Justin Bieber or there's some other guys. Best example is I'm walking around here. There's this guy with the selfie stick live streaming, bro. And he's just, sorry that I say this, it's just a chubby dude with big glasses and black t-shirt and looks pretty normal and pretty average. But he's live streaming and he's a Chinese streamer, bro. And he has like 350,000 people live watching him right now while he walks around on the market and showing that stuff. What I want to say with that is it's not your body and all that stuff doesn't really matter. It's about the person. If you're a dickhead, you're just a dickhead, bro. And it will show, not on pictures, but in videos. That's why you can also find some physiques on Instagram where you see, oh yeah, these guys are an amazing body and they are insanely good in this, but that's it. There's nothing more there. There's no personality, there's no character, and that's why you can only succeed in this thing. And then ultimately, if you would do the YouTube videos and all that stuff, it would show that you are maybe quite boring. So how can I end this then? Yeah, difficult. But people should definitely relax a bit more, okay? And also be less angry and negative on people. But I'm now, anyways, I'm trying to get a bit more fat, right? So then I will obviously come out with another pictures where I'm a bit less in shape, just to get another transition again. I believe the only reason I reached to 7 million followers is because I nonstop kept doing something. One time I have long hair, then I have short hair, then I have blonde hair, then I have white hair, then I have black hair, then I have a beard, then I have a mustache. Just keep adjusting. Then I'm in Thailand, then I'm in Dubai, then I'm in Germany. The pictures change, the mood change, the vibe change, and you always have to entertain people. And problem nowadays with social media, people's attention span is so short.
Really good points, mate, especially at the end there, you said like you have to keep changing. Like no matter how good and exciting or good looking you are, if you're the same, well, how long, after 3 months, it's like, okay, we've seen everything you got on to the next younger, better looking, different person. So you keep mixing it up. That's amazing. I also like what you said. People are so influenced by something I would say or something you would say. I would say I make a video and 1,000 people, that was such a horrible video. You're so rude. How could you call this person out? How could you say this or say that? And they're thinking, okay, that's me. That's one person affecting their life. And you just said, do they forget that there's 1 million people watching us and there's 1,000 comments saying you're a bad person? We have one of us talking to them and 1,000 people coming back. It's harder on us than them.
And it's not only that for them, it's a video which they are watching and they could assume I'm talking about them. But they write a comment which is completely 100% attacking me in every single way they write. They are attacking only me. And that's where it's very personal, you know what I mean? And therefore, I'm an emotional guy, bro. Like, I read these messages, I'm like, what? I cannot, like, why? And I don't want to believe, because I'm like, why you say that you don't know? Then I try to explain myself and try to explain. But the more you try to make someone like you that doesn't like you, the more they hate you anyways.
Absolutely. And the way I see it, and this is what I've done, and it's helped me, I see it as like the WWE. And you have your Andre the Giant and your Hulk Hogan and all your characters. Some are the bad guy and some are the good guy, or some are back and forth. Like, I see myself as like, I'm Andre the Giant. Some people love him. Some people hate him. Is he good guy, bad guy? Like, it depends on the day. It depends on what you say. And so when people comment, rather than thinking, oh, they're shitting on me or they're saying this about me, it's like they actually cared so much about what I said that they wanted to type something. You're getting a reaction from people. To be able to do that, it's not easy. To have people invested so much in their life that they'll actually watch your video and take time out of the day to say, I hated that video, I don't like what you say. That means it has an impact on their body, their mind, their soul. Like they're just thinking about you all the time. That you can imagine that having a video have that much of an impact on somebody. To me, I take it as a compliment.
That's definitely how you should see it. And in terms of like feedback, and then just don't judge people like I don't do. And then you read the comments and then you just read it and that's it. But in terms of having these guys online, it's much easier to get 1,000 comments from people just real quick, which shit on you, than to say something positive about someone. That's why I would ultimately say, don't ever think about one second that you are not doing good, because you help thousands of people changing their life, transforming their bodies, becoming better themselves and finding motivation and all that stuff. While other cunts, while they just write the shit comments, meant like, what did you do? Let's say, there's this one quote, it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank account, blah, blah, blah. It does only matter how many people you move when you say something like that. How many people will, like, also your legacy, who will remember you, right? If you just been doing whatever you've been doing. But if you have been inspiring hundreds out, like look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these guys, they will also never be forgotten because they've been inspiring millions. And they help millions and also to find motivation and energy. So it's that you will also do that. And you helped a lot of people. And then there's always jealousy and bad vibes and people being just very negative. And like I said, having a shit job maybe and being upset with their life, coming home and then seeing your face again. And it's just the right thing for them to see. It's like, yeah, let's see what this motherfucker has to say again. And then they hear something they don't want to hear. Because oftentimes the truth is also that the truth hurts, bro. People are this is why you're also doing good in this extent that you say it's not what you want to hear, but what I have to tell you. It's just like people, you are more likable if you just say what they want to hear. But then you are just still fat and like nothing will change in your fucking life because they just like they're just nice guys to you. Yeah, they don't want to be the bad guys, so they keep telling you what you want to hear, but not what you should hear. It's like when you made the example, like she's wearing a dress and it looks awful, but she's like rich, so everyone just licks her ass, while other guys like, yeah, it looks like shit. And she's like, hey, how all my other 10 friends tell me it looks so beautiful, and you are just the only honest guy or what? While the others, they tell it to your face, yeah, it's beautiful, and then they turn around and then they gossip anyways. So therefore, it's really about becoming a tough guy in this world, also mindset-wise and stuff. You need to educate yourself in this way.
Yeah, it's so much easier to tell people nice things and just say what they want to hear. Like, it's harder for me to make some of my videos because I know that people aren't going to like it. If I say, if you don't have any abs, you're fat, like if you can't see any outline, you're probably overweight. Most people are overweight. That's not easy to say. Is you can be healthy at any size, any 400 pounds, 500 pounds. Hey, as long as you go for walks, you're good. You're great. The truth is it's not. It's a lie. So I have to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Very hard. My mom used to tell me when I was a kid, she's like, people will remember you not for what you say, but for what you make them feel like. So it's not, they don't remember what did you say? They remember how you made them feel. And so a lot of times I'm going to make them feel shitty because I'm saying, hey, if you're overweight, you're probably going to die younger. If you abuse steroids, you're probably going to die an earlier death. No one wants to hear that. They don't like hearing that, but it's like the truth hurts sometimes. And you have to say that. And my channel is all about calling out the BS. I see things happening and I'm like, hey, they're lying. They're misleading you. They're not being truthful. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but one thing I'm trying to do is be honest. And I always tell you, what do I actually think about this? And I'm not trying to mislead people.
I also believe, let's say there's like people, let's say like me lately, I watch a lot of Jordan Peterson and all these guys and just like mind coaching. So I'm on this, like I'm interested in this. So, right, I'm digging into this. And then I also would find videos where they talk about stuff where I kind of have to look myself in the mirror and start to cry almost because I'm like, oh my God, this is so true. You suck so bad in this extent. But then just face it, man. Then also like when you say, yeah, if maybe you eventually you are fat, then there's a chubby guy sitting at home watching videos, like all of a sudden a tear comes down his cheek because it's like, oh my God, he exposed me. But the truth is, it's just true. And maybe this pain, by taking in this pain, it triggered enough emotional reaction to you to really change. And the problem is that change also hurts. So that's why people are just getting babysitted by just telling them what they want to hear, but not what they should hear, because then life is just more convenient. But eventually you will always stay the same also.
And another thing is we all have flaws. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. And I mean, we might have ideal looking physiques that people want to achieve, but even though we can do it, I'm not saying that everyone should go for that. So even though I'll say, hey, being overweight, it's not good for you. It's not healthy. I don't tell people to try to look like me or to try to look like you. I keep telling people, close your eyes and imagine your dream physique. And then I say, open them up. You're not getting it. Halfway there, that's a realistic goal. So for me, it's all about being a little bit better than you are, like improving yourself, but not thinking you need to be perfect, because if you're striving for perfection, you're never going to get there.
I'm also having issues with that, bro, because I'm such a perfectionist. Like, I need to be number one, man. I need to be the best, man. I'm so critic with my stuff, but see it like this, just put in effort, put in more effort, and then let's see where how far it goes. And also just give yourself time, give yourself chances, and don't be that hard on yourself sometimes in order, like when you say like, yeah, this is my dream physique, and then maybe I'm not going to get it, but I can still achieve something quite decent, which is still worth it. And also ultimately, when it comes to fitness stuff, we are in this sport which probably teaches you discipline like nothing else. And the only thing people they would need more in their life for everything would be the discipline. And that's why they realize like, hey, it's not that easy. Let's say maybe I can make $1 million on my bank account by working like that, but getting to the body, oh, I cannot control myself with my food, or I always eat too much, or I do this. Yeah, but see, this is things where you are lacking. You should eventually change that to have a better life in the long run. So now you have to take that pain that you are not disciplined enough in this part, then change it. Try, practice, keep going, and then you will make it, man. And then you will be so proud of yourself. And then eventually also, in the long run, your life goes a different direction because you just learned how to discipline yourself more.
Now, I this a bit off topic, but I really wanted to ask this because you've gotten so popular, famous over the years, and a lot of people would dream to be in your position. But is it all good? Is there bad things about being as famous as you are? Like the negative, like obviously we can't complain about having more money, but like you probably get recognized a lot. Can it be annoying? Do people come up to you and say, I want to flex your alien gains. I want to see that. I need a picture with you and interrupt you. Maybe you're at dinner. Like, is there any of that gets annoying? Is there any struggles that you have? Do people use you for your popularity? Like, how do your friends treat you? Like, what is the good, bad, and the ugly of being at the level you're at, 7 million? Like, what is the pros, the cons of being in your actual shoes?
There's some pros and cons for sure. Yeah, I'm lucky, man, and I say that I'm hiding here in Thailand where no one knows me, and I can just do my thing. I'm just this guy. I'm building up my social media, so I never really get what is it called, in touch with all that stuff that people might know me. Because for me, mainly it was me putting up these videos, getting millions of views, but it's ridiculous amounts of views, like hundreds of millions of people saw my stuff. So how can I imagine I'm traveling around the world and then not a lot of people would know me, but I'm like, oh shit, you know me? Wow, I didn't know. Like, you want a picture with me? Huh? Who am I that you want a picture with me? So I still get that more. But then let's say I stay in Dubai for like 5 weeks again now, and I realized, oh my God, I think too many people, they know me. It's like I cannot go to the toilet here. Like, too many people, I think they know me. This is not even funny anymore. It's like I walk somewhere and I'm like, hopefully no one knows me, because let's say I just want to go real quick to here and there. And then maybe you get 10 times you get stopped, or maybe you're just in a fucked up mood. You look messy. I don't know, something is wrong with you, or you have no time, you're in a hurry. And then you would see these 3 fans, they come up to you and say, hey, Joe, can we take a picture real quick? And you say, oh, no, sorry, fuck off, guys, I have no time. And then and then it breaks my heart, bro. Like every time when I'm a bit negative to like someone who follows me and who comes up to me and I'm like, oh, maybe I have no time, or I'm just in a bad mood or whatever. I'm trying to be as good as possible. But let's say twice or 3 times I was saying no to someone taking a picture, and I was almost heartbroken, because to see that pain in these eyes of the people, like, really? Okay. And then it's like, you are dead now for me, bro. I was a big fan, but after this experience, I hate you. More like that. And me just being not much in touch with it, I'm like, oh, I'm cool. It's cool being kind of well known. It maybe gets you some stuff. That's cool. But then a lot of people, they want something off your ass. That's also something where you need to be careful, because all of a sudden you will also have a lot of friends, and everyone would be all of a sudden be nice to you. And like, there's all of a sudden people nice to me, which I remember from back in the days, and they would not be nice to me back in the days. And now I meet them and they're so nice to me, and I'm like, bruh, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I still remember you from 2 years ago. Like, why did you now, why you all of a sudden like me? Just because it has something strange, bro. Like, I come inside a bank, let's say, then a guy knows me and he's like, oh my God, this is JOESTHETICS. Wow, can I take a picture? And then the 3, 4 girls that sit there also working there in the office, right? They don't even know me. They don't know nothing. And then they're like, oh my God, who is this? What? He has 7 million followers. Oh, I also need a picture. You don't even know me, right? It's like somehow like success is interesting for people, somehow looks like, because all of a sudden they're like, oh, let me also take a picture with you. And like, yeah, but you don't even know me, like you don't have nothing to do with it, but you just to say, yeah, I met some guy who has 7 million followers. And I'm like, wow, what the fuck is this world become, bro? Like, in what world can we live with? I'm this guy, like, I'm not watching much content at all, bro. I'm telling you, because I believe it's very toxic. And you need to be careful what you watch online in order to watch the right people, to get the right information. This is basically like what feeds your day. People would be mad and depressed, yeah, because then the algorithm shows them this mad and depressing stuff. And then would be other people that go on a life mission and improve themselves so much because they keep digging into these coaching videos, or how to change my mindset, how to become blah, blah, blah. And then this does that for them. So you really need to be very selective in order to say what's good for you to watch and what not. Because otherwise you just sit there and you just look like, oh my God, these guys are so good. They look so good. They have everything perfect. And my life is just so shit and everything sucks. And I should just bury myself. While we also struggle, we also struggle so much behind the scenes, but social media is just portraying the perfect guy. It's just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking like, just because you have a lot of followers or none, you're the exact same person, like exactly the same, whether you have 100 million followers or none. But people don't see you that way. And what people are going to remember is if you do 100 good things and 1 bad thing, they remember 1 bad thing. They don't remember 100 good things. So anytime if you get caught cursing someone out or saying anything rude or inappropriate, that one thing, you could be the nicest person in the world and you're going to have a bad day, an off day, and say something you regret. And so people they remember that thing. So that is very difficult, I guess, being super popular. And I mean, I talk to my friends and it's like, they're like, well, Greg is kind of famous, but not famous to us. He's just some weirdo guy that's like weird. You know what I mean? Like, and so I had a question. Are you different when you get met in person than people would expect? Like for me, just to give you an example, people run into me and they'll be like, wow, you look a lot like Greg, this coach Greg guy. Do you know who he is? I'm like, yeah, that's me. They're like, what? Like, it can't be you because you're so calm and you're so quiet. I'm at the gym just working out and I'll have a conversation and they literally come up to me and they think it can't be me because they're like, they expect me to be jumping around, screaming and shouting. And I'm like, that's not my daily life. I don't run around screaming. I sit down, I watch a movie. I like relaxing in a hot tub. Like, I'm just to sit around and chat. I like to joke around. Now, if I'm debating with people about something I really believe in, I can get pretty heated and, amped up. But for the most part, I'm just a calm guy that just likes to relax. So for you, how are you different in your mind off camera when people meet you versus what you would expect?
I have to say, bro, that I'm just pretty fucked in the head, bro. So if you not catch me in a depressed moment, I'm literally the same guy like right now. And like people would, when they meet me, 90% it happens, they say, oh my God, you are so much bigger in real life. It happens really. I always don't believe it. Everyone says, oh my God, you're so much bigger in real life. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm like 106 kilogram, 182 is like, I'm not small. So that one thing. And then on the other side, how can I say? I'm always in this mood, kind of like. So mostly people that would catch me, they say, wow, you are in your videos. And I'm like, I think I'm like this because I'm always kind of loud and like they say the same thing like right now, I'm the same. I'm mostly the same. Not if you meet me or catch me in a moment where I'm just fucked up because I was now not eating, did cardio, was working out, did videos, tons of videos maybe went wrong. I had to redo a lot of stuff and I'm just so beyond with everything. And I'm just like dying because I also didn't eat anything. And then in this moment, maybe something goes wrong and I just freak out because I can be a very angry guy as well. Like I can be super angry, but mostly you don't see that. Like I'm so positive and I'm so nice guy, but that's also on the opposite, I can also be the worst guy.
Yeah, I think we all have our like
10%.
Yeah, I think we all have our alter ego. Like I can get really pissed off if I know someone's lying for me or trying to scam me or cheat me out of something. And they're like, and I hate that. That's what would piss me off the most when people are lying about me. But for the most part, I'm pretty easygoing. And it's funny you mentioned you're a lot bigger because I mean, in my mind, I'm picturing you're massive. I'm picturing like you're saying 106 kilograms. So I was thinking you're about 240 pounds and I'm thinking you're about 6'1". That's 182 centimeters, probably about right. And so you're probably exactly the size I picture, which is huge. But when people meet me, they'll also say you're bigger than I expected. And I'm 168 centimeters. They think I'm some kind of short little man, like I'm 5'2". And I'm like, I'm a pro bodybuilder. I have a lot of muscle. So when I go into the gym, I'm usually the biggest guy or one of the biggest guys, even though I'm not that tall, but most people say I'm a lot bigger than they're expecting, especially if I have a pump. But I'm thinking, do they not know I'm a pro bodybuilder? Like I should have muscle.
Oh, no, this is easy to get forgotten, bro. The problem is that all your achievements, they can be so easily to be forgotten tomorrow. No one cares anymore, okay? But the one thing that I just found funny is that you probably get that, like you said, people, they would come to say, yeah, you look a lot like this Coach Greg that I know. And then you're like, yeah, that's me. Because usually people, there's no way that's the guy with white hair is big, the beard and stuff, like it must be Joe, like if you see me walking around, it's almost obvious that it's me. Even though sometimes I think it's not obvious. And then I would even get asked from people if I'm Jake Paul Jake Paul is Jake Paul? Yeah. Like this YouTuber guy, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Logan Paul and I'm like, no. But other side, sometimes people come in and they still also ask me like, are you this guy Joe? And I'm like, yeah, hey guy, what's poppin'? Always, let's go take a picture. And then people, they would sometimes just be too nervous. I don't know, you probably also get it. The way that people approaches you is just sometimes weird. It's like, why you not just go there, Brian? You just say, oh, hey, hi, are you Joe? Hi, my name is Anthony. Nice to meet you, bro. I'm a big fan maybe, and can we take a picture? But they would just come there like with the phone like this and is a picture. And I'm like, oh, hey, hi, what's your name, bro? Where are you from? Like something like that.
And for me, I'm kind of a shy person and personally. And so like, I remember being younger and seeing like famous bodybuilders and knowing who they are and wanting a picture or whatever, and being very shy and nervous to go and talk to them. So I would assume that everyone feel the same way. So oftentimes people come in and talk to me, and they're very, very shy. They're shaking their hands, and they'll tell you, I'm super nervous, and they're shaking. And it feels so freaky to me. And I love it when people come in and talk to me, because it's such an honor to have somebody like recognize you and say, hey, I bought your cookbook and I lost all this weight and I love your videos and I've never in my life had one person, and this is over years, come up to me and say something negative ever. So a lot of people probably think, oh, Coach Greg is so bad, this and that. No one ever approaches me and says anything negative. And so do you ever get anyone that comes up to you and says anything negative to your face? They probably type it online, but in person, does anyone ever say anything bad?
Nah, honestly, I've never been getting in touch with someone who doesn't like me, like really doesn't like me. Let's say I would more even have guys that see me around and they don't, let's say they see my Instagram, right? And then they say a few weeks later, I meet them again, all of a sudden they come up to me, they say, hey, I'm like, oh, what's up? And they say, you know, I don't like you usually, but now I was watching some of your YouTube videos, and then I realized, like, when I came out with steroids and stuff like that, like, you're not even a liar. Like, let's say that I really liked about you. Like that got sympathy going somehow, because like I say, in Instagram, it's just, yeah, people that would see me shirtless, right? They must assume this guy has such a big ego, is loving himself too much. And like, what not? What else not, right? Like so many things that they assume, which maybe it's just not true. So then when you watch someone's YouTube videos like you, then it's just easier to see like, oh, wow, yeah, the guy's well educated. It's like nice to see also this side of him in order to get a full picture and realize really like, am I liking this person or not? Because like I said, then a guy that doesn't even know you yet, Greg, but I'm telling him about you, and I say, there's this motherfucker Greg, and he makes these stupid videos, like such bullshit. So then this guy maybe goes up already with his negative mood and energy, and he's like, yeah, okay, let's see Coach Greg. And then he types in one video where he's screaming around. It's like, yeah, this guy is a complete fool, man. Leave a comment, Greg, you're just a stupid fuck. And that's also happening, right? I mean, you cannot do anything about it, but therefore just like be the best version of yourself and try to become the best version of yourself. And then also just try to make yourself more better, more educated, more strong, more in everything that you can do, and just try to work on yourself and ultimately come back to the point. Be careful who you watch and what you watch online, so that you watch maybe guys like me or Greg that give you proper input or feed you things that make you work, that make you go out there and exercise, that get your diet going, and it just like gets you moving. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, you are really wasting your time, even if you are now still watching the video, right? Someone who is still watching this video eventually. If you are watching nonstop nonsense stuff, it's just a waste of time, while you could also watch people like us who help you in some way, educate you, right? And then maybe sometimes, yeah, just pure entertainment also good. But don't look at things online that make you feel less good about you, yourself, and your life.
That's really a great message. Be the best version of yourself and follow those who are going to allow you to do that. Follow people that you think are positive for you. And maybe it isn't me. Maybe for somebody that watches my content, they don't like it. But for the most part, I think 95% of people that watch my channel, they like it. Perhaps they don't like all my videos, but hey, watch the ones that are going to positively impact you. Now, you've been in my mind, you know, you're extremely successful. You've basically achieved it all, really. Like there's no real reason to keep going, but we're never satisfied. And so I want to know, what do you see in the future? Like, why are you still working? Like, what motivates you? What drives you to keep pursuing being a better version of yourself, getting more followers or more, whatever? Like, what are you interested in? Maybe you're going to start a supplement company. Like, what's in the future for you?
See, this is a good point. Yeah, ultimately, let's say I want to start my own product. I'm still not sure in what is that product going to be and stuff, but my next goals are just still, I say Instagram is the 12. I don't know why I see a 12 million there, but I see 12 million there. This is the next thing which I need to get. Because first it was like 1 million, right? Then it was 3, then it was 5. And now after 5, 7 is nothing anyway. So not even 10, but 12 is the goal. 12, a million on Insta, on YouTube with the German, on the English channel as well, and then also long term trying to really take in more of these coaches and guides which help me to become a better version of me, like also like fixing my belief system, fixing a lot of my education, and how my parents raised me eventually, or how your parents also raised you, was maybe not the best way. And it takes a very long time to get raised, right? And to get all these bad habits and everything that you develop and make over the years, and who you become. But now you became a person that you not necessarily want to be, because you want to be that great, good-looking, successful guy who is rich and driving a Lamborghini. But right now you are just a normal guy sitting in his office job and like being depressed. So now look at what could you do, and how could you adjust, and how can you get that journey started, and get on the journey. Get on this journey to learn about yourself and study yourself. Like that is something which I ultimately learned through the gym, that it's about studying ourselves. And it's not limited to training. That is much bigger than that. It's so much bigger. It's everything you want to be. You want to be a chemist? Yeah, man, you could become one by just looking after these things, studying that stuff. And now you want to be a better person. Like maybe you are, I don't know, like you're, let's say some guy is smoking and he just wants to quit. Yeah, now try to fix stuff like this. And then let's say I'm having anger problems sometimes. Yeah, I just try to fix it. I'm trying to maybe meditate and like all these things. So my long-term goals are just becoming a better version of myself, like, which is so powerful and unbeatable that I can do anything I want. Like I can anyways do anything I want that I believe in I can do. But in order to do these things, I need to make myself better and just maybe educate myself and learn certain things in order to become the person that I want to be. That's the only thing we should anyways also be doing. Also, like some guy like you, I don't know what other business, let's say there's business goals, right? There's business goals, there's fitness goals, there's life goals. So I don't know which category you're in right now, but in terms of life goals, become someone that you can be proud of.
That's a great answer. I mean, absolutely amazing from just the followers and that aspect, but the personal growth and basically to self-actualize and to be all that you can be, to be the best person that you can personally be. For me, like I'm more than 10 times more successful than in my wildest dreams. If I imagine what could I ever do, I've already done that times 10. So it's not really about that, but as a human, we never are satisfied. We always want to pursue something. We always want to get better at something. And so, I mean, I've done what I can do in bodybuilding and powerlifting. And so now I want to be really healthy. I want to live the longest life. And my goal now is to be happy, the most happy possible. And I quickly learned that it's not money. Like in my mind, I was thinking, okay, if I ever have $1 million, I'll be so happy. The money, if I ever have this Urus, it'll be the best thing ever. And it's amazing the first 2 days that you get anything. The first, it's like, wow, I did this. 1 million followers. I'm like, well, what else could I do? Because to me, 100,000 I was more excited when I got 100,000 than 1 million, because it was like something I could never do. And so the more you go up and up, the more you realize that that's not what makes you happy. You have to find that from within. And so now I'm just thinking, like, I do so much research on how do you become happy? What do you do? What causes it? What releases dopamine? And so it's totally different. So although I have, goals to have a successful, company for supplements and cookbooks and all these things, what really makes me happy is not that, but just trying to better myself in any way possible.
100%. I believe so as well. I hear what you say. And this is probably also the ultimate goal anyways in this life, is how to be happy. Right. And then you will always realize it's only the short term. They're only like you buy the euros and let's say, I want to buy this watch and I work so hard to get there. And then I get there and then I bought it. And then what? It's like, what's next? It's like, I'm this guy also with the bicycle riding tricks. Or let's say you spinning, you get this, you beat your best time. And it's like, what's next? But I should beat that as well. It's like, it's always keep going, man. Keep digging in, just one step further, next. And that's what I believe ultimately also leads to happiness, because not only that you can develop a greater personality and character, but also you are doing a lot of things, right? So you maybe also find things that you like more and like less. And I believe in order to become happy, you have to fix the most up here. like, because now you said, right, you buy the euros for 2 days, you are super happy, but then what's next? And what I was also learning, or I tried to learn to understand this, is like, I don't know if it was LeBron James who said it, but some basketball stars said it. It's like, it's about the journey. You have to enjoy the journey. It's not like me as well. Like, I'm like, yeah, if I have 5 million followers, I will be happy. But then you are there and it's nothing different. So you better enjoy the process of getting there as well. And just keep that in mind nonstop. And there's a lot of things in this life which we should just remind ourselves on a daily basis. And if not, I remind myself, then you remind me about this. And there's many things. And it depends on which category and way of life you're living, where you are, who you are, what sport you do, what job you do, everything. But there's many things in your life also which you should hear on a daily basis, just in order to help you to keep going, be a better person, and ultimately more happy. But yes, in this life, having more money doesn't create more happiness. It fixes all these money issues. But then there's other things in life which come up. Then at one point you might have health issues, and then money can't help anything anymore and all that stuff. So ultimately, be happy. Therefore, you got to be someone where you can be proud of, to be happy about, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people, I find that they save up money and their goal is, well, when I retire, I can settle down and I can be happy. I'll be done work and then I can be happy. And if you think that when you're done your job, that your work, that's going to make you happy, it's not. I could retire right now 10 times over and never work a day in my life and be fine. But I don't want to do that, because the challenge is what brings me happiness. The challenge that I take on and I work for, and know that I did that, and that was what caused this success, whether it's improving my bike time or getting stronger or writing a book or doing whatever. It's something that I strive to do that. And it gives me a purpose, a reason to wake up every morning. And to me, it's sad. So many people wake up and there's nothing exciting to do. I can't wait to get up, and I'm like, I get to go to the gym today. I get to do cardio today. I get to go on my bike. Other people, it's like, I got to get it over with. I got to get that cardio out of the way. I can't wait till I'm done the gym. Then I can run. That is what makes me happy. And so it's sad that other people, like, I just wish other people could see fitness and health the way I do, because it is really the purpose for my life, just to get out there and have fun. And I love it so much. And I just wish other people had that. And even if it's not fitness, playing an instrument, do whatever, have some reason to make you happy.
That's a good one that you just now said, because you saw it the way that these things, I'm gonna do this, and so I accomplished. I did my tasks, and that gives me happiness because I accomplished something, right? Or then ultimately maybe success. I achieved something. I was successful in this, which gives me happiness because it makes you proud of yourself. So it's about all these small tasks and small daily things that you also can do or have to do, even, where you can make yourself either happy or depressed. Like the way you approach it, just like you say, yeah, I do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. In the end of the day, you see, oh man, I got everything. Yeah, man, it makes you feel good about yourself. And what people have to realize also, that work is one of the biggest triggering things for dopamine. If you do something that gets you the feel of accomplishing something, of getting something going, or like, let's say a barber, he's cutting hair, right? And then he's having 10 customers a day with great haircuts. And they go home, they're happy. So he gets the immediate result of his work, which fulfills him eventually, right? So there's like a lot of things. But yeah, it's about these small daily tasks that you also are doing, that you need to learn how to approach them in order to make yourself happy.
Yeah, that fulfillment you get from achieving something, or your work, having pride in your work, it's so important. And I don't know if it's, maybe I'm old, but I see the younger society, like the teenagers and early 20s that are coming up, they don't have as much pride in what they're doing as much as we used to. Like, they don't want to work as hard. They don't seem to try as hard. And I don't blame them. I blame social media and what's happening now with, you open up your phone and you can swipe and scroll, and there's so much dopamine release. It's just in your face. When I was a kid, you didn't have a phone. I had to read a book. If you were on a plane, you had a book. I read books all the time. That was the only way to pass the time. You were more bored. Now, if the video is more than 15 seconds, I don't have time for that. And it's just, people go through it. And so I think that society is changing, but we have to get back to just, striving for happiness, trying to work for it, not just letting it come to us, but actually working to get a goal.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. You need to also, and this is why you should strive for something and have some goals and setting small goals and accomplishing things, right? So you get yourself motivated and you get yourself going, because also a big point is imagination. It's like you could just now close your eyes, man, and then you think about Tibet, bruh, where you've been walking maybe in Tibet, and you are just feeling like you are there. But these days, kids that they have, we take away their imagination because they can now see everything immediately with a smartphone. So this is an endless topic where we can dig into with the conspiracy theories and stuff, and what social media is good for and what is bad for, because it probably is much more worse than we imagine it to be. And this is probably, everything is super big controlled from behind the scenes, and this is all a big plan. Like, yeah, man, look into the metaverse, all that stuff which is coming. Who knows how this is going to turn out to be. But yeah, I believe back in the days we had less. You had even less than me, because I was already having like smartphone, not even smartphone, the best ones, but it was just coming up with the phones and like sending Bluetooth stuff. That was back in the days already, or like having a ringtone. So anyways, we already had to use more imagination, and nowadays it's just not that much needed, which I believe may lead into a great depression at one point, which are just people are getting super depressed non-stop. And maybe the next generation of young kids or teenagers right now, when they grow up and stuff, life will be just different for them, right? And you see everything around and how it should be, like this is how life should be. That's what social media shows you, how it should be, right? This is it. But there's so many different ways of living life, which no one should tell you what's good for you and what's not. You should decide yourself. But with social media, that's where we come back to the point. Be careful who you watch. Watch
exactly.
The right.
And aside from being careful with who you watch and following the right people that can help you improve yourself, what advice would you give for the younger people who are interested in improving their physique? They're embarking on their health fitness journey. Perhaps they want to lose fat, build muscle. What is the best advices, more than one, if you could, information that you could give to somebody just about to start getting into the fitness thing, things to look out for, things to be wary of? What would be your best tips for these people?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Let's say first up, you have to look at what you have. First, you take a look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you just try to analyze who and what you are and what your physique is like. Like that you see, oh, maybe I'm quite short. I have narrow collarbone, I have and then you learn how to study yourself. You study yourself, you try different things. So you make a plan. It makes making a plan like a war plan is quite good. You say, okay, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to do like this. And then I'm going to do like this. And I'm going to do like this. And you keep changing and you keep trying to get better in your workout, in your nutrition. So maybe you just start doing all these different exercises that exist, and then find a way to create an exercise plan for yourself that fits your body and your needs. If you can't do that and you have no time and you need to get a shortcut, get a coach which helps you. Someone who's educated around you. It doesn't matter what we are doing, beside anything, not even for fitness goals. You want to do something, now you can go in self-studying and hundreds of hours to get there, right? Or you get someone who is educated in the topic where you want to get good in, ask him, get him as a mentor. He helps you to reach your goal quicker. So that's one thing. If you need help, find help, ask people. That's important. Study yourself, study your body, study your physique, find out what works and what doesn't. And go, yes, and make a plan, and then go and try shit. Like eat like this for a week or two, see how it works for you with your digestion and everything. See what kind of nutrition you can eat well, what doesn't fit for you, and like what is your goal? Like I said, ultimately, maybe a coach can in the beginning help to specify the goal better and maybe set small steps in between, which he thinks is good steps to do to reach your goal. But then ultimately studying yourself, and you need to be the one only. Let's say I was doing, for example, when I wanted to find out what is a good amount of sodium for me, because I have all these cramps always. So I would drink 3 liters a day with 3 grams of salt for 1 week. Then I would drink 4 liters a day with 3 grams of salt for 1 week. Then I would drink 4 liters with 4 grams of salt. And I would do like for 3 months, every week, do something different and see, did it work? Oh, it worked or not. And then next. And it's like, see your body like a fucking high-end car engine, bro, like an engine. And it has so many adjustable things there. And you just need to find out what is the right setup, which screw do I need to tighten more? Which thing do I need to open up more? Like, find out what works. One guy needs a low carb diet, feels really good with it. One guy has a high carb, low fat diet. It's like, how would you ever know if you don't try? Find out, study yourself, study your body. This is the most and biggest approach. Find out, let's say, you want to know how to lose weight. Yeah. Do you know how much calories you are burning on average? No. It's like, yeah, that maybe would be the first good step to do. Like, how do I do this? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe you just take 3,000 calories every day for 1 week, and you see what happened with your weight. And then you just go to 2.5, and then you see, oh, now with 2.5, I find my maintenance calories, and then I go from there. This is like, make a plan. This is really the thing. And then try shit, find out if it worked or not. Then trial and error. This is again, like when I come back to the bicycle stunt trick stuff, like I do a backflip, I fail, I go again. I fail, I go again. And then oh, now it works. Okay, now this is the way I did it. Okay, then let's do it like this. So always trial and error. Try, adjust, keep going. That's basically the best thing I can recommend. And for someone who wants to bring up their physique, I believe an upper body, lower body split is quite good. Just to say that real quick, because for someone who is just starting out to train, if you have a 5 body part split and you train your muscle once a week, then you maybe have 1 day of chest where you do 5 exercises. So you do bench press once a week. But now with upper lower, you do bench press 3 times a week. And now you do this 3 times more often than before, right? So you are getting more repetition in. And the more repetition you do in something, if you want to play golf, you go try to practice golf. And the more often you do the swing, the better you get in the swing. So also with exercising, it's like that. The more often you do an exercise, the more better you get if you are focusing on getting better and improving. Because I see also idiots in the gym, they would just go there brainless and just do exercise for the sake of exercising. But no, you want to be good, you want to improve. So you keep studying and you just do an exercise where you want to get better in. Now you do upper lower, and you do that so much more often than a guy who is just training once a week. So in 1 year, you've been doing bench press, let's say 300 times, for example, just said it, and the other guy was doing 100 times bench press. So eventually you had 200 times more bench pressing. That's why you are knowing better how to bench press, because you've been going bench pressing not only with this is the technique, so no. First day you've been doing the bench press this way, then you tried, oh, how can I do this with my elbows and all this stuff. So you kept training, you kept practicing, because I always say Olympic weightlifting. There's these guys, they throw the ball or whatever the fuck they do, bro. And everyone is doing the same, right? Everyone is the same technique. Why? Because there is probably just one technique how you can throw the ball the furthest, like the most far, right? Or like with the clean and jerk and all that stuff, or like these guys, they put the weight here and then they put it here. Like, why does everyone do the same technique? Probably because this is the only one way how to do it. So there's in every exercise, there's one perfect way how to do it. The one perfect way for you how to do it, because your ligaments are different long and your joints are different, like your bones are different. So now you just find to practice how you can find the best way for you. General advice, of course, and then you set up the machine properly, and then you just practice this bench press. And after 20 times of bench pressing, you realize, oh, now you put your elbows in a different way, and then you feel it greater. Practice. The resume of this 10-minute talk again is practice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great answer. And just to quickly summarize it for the young people, you basically have to study and take it upon yourself to learn. You can't just expect to do everything right. It takes time. There's a right way to do things. As you said, in the clean and jerk, there's one proper right way. And your body is kind of like a high performance engine. You said you have to get used to it. You have to learn from it. You have to practice. You're not going to do everything perfect from day one. It's going to take repeated practice over and over again. And if you keep at it, eventually going to learn what works for you, but you have to be proactive with yourself. You can't blame it on anyone else. You can't just say, I watched this guy and I only do what they said. You have to watch and learn from everything, practice. And the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it.
100%. And also the good approach is always put that extra effort in, bro. Like, there's probably a guy out there right now who is hustling still to become that person that you want to be, but he's still on it while you are just now, again, lazy and like demotivated maybe. So also keep that in mind. Maybe someone behind you, somewhere that you don't know about yet, he's working harder than you right now. So just use that to push yourself.
Yeah, that's a good tip as well. You can't just expect to get anything out of it unless you put in everything that you can to put your best effort, work harder than last time, overtime, progressive overload, and you'll get there eventually.
That's one thing. And also, you deserve nothing, man. You deserve nothing but the shit you worked for and that you accomplished yourself. I don't give a thing if you get it from your mom and dad. Okay, that's the nice for you, but deserving, because back in the days I would look back and I'm like, yeah, man, I think my parents are the reason and stuff. Like, no, just try to find the root in yourself, right? Like I said, back in the days, my parents or your parents, they raised you the way they raised you, but they also been not Jesus and they haven't been doing everything perfect. So now there's some things that are not right in the way that you are right now acting and stuff, or maybe the way that you got raised with your behavior and discipline, all that stuff. It's on you now to fix it. You are now an adult. It doesn't matter. You are just 16 right now, bro, but for me, you're still an adult, man. It's not good. So you're just already on this journey in order to make yourself better, because you're having lack of discipline, because now you cannot go to the gym. Fix it. You are not making your bed in the morning. I don't know, man. Just fix it. Like, you're having issues doing these things. Find a way to fix it. If you feel too weak yourself, get help, find a mentor. It's like, there's only excuses in this life. There's just a lot of things. Like, don't think like I cannot, just think about like how. It's like, sorry, I cannot do that. It's like, oh, that's one way of saying like, sorry, I cannot do that. Or you say, okay, how can I do that? You should also, by saying, no, I cannot do that, you're already limiting yourself and you shut your brain down. But if you say like, okay, how can I do that? You're already opening up the door, and it's like all these unlimited possibilities are coming in, because you're asking like, how? But before you say, no, I cannot, it's like, or you say, how I can. Also, you can always find a way. That's why, again, we come back, listen to the right people online, motivate yourself and inspire, and use these things to become a stronger individual.
Absolutely. Great advice, great tips. I'm really happy to be able to have the opportunity to interview you. I think we had so many things that were covered in this video. I personally was the most excited listening to you talk about the bike back in the day, doing the flips, and how athletic you were, and how you transitioned into being a bodybuilder, and how you've done it to this day. So I really hope everyone enjoyed the interview, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Thank you much for having me, bro. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it, man. And yeah, let's do it again if you have time. Let's see how the people, let's say, guys, you now are responsible. You give us proper feedback. What do you thought about this episode with Coach Greg interview? And leave us feedback below. And then eventually we come again together to do some more questions for you.